thanks so much for coming to have a chat with me, Stacey, about your new meal preparation resource guru book, basically. I'm going to let you tell me exactly what it is, but can you just start by just telling me a little bit more about who you are, what your background is, and the book and the resources that you're launching?
Yeah. As you said, my name's Stacey. I've been an occupational therapist for over, I think, 24 years. I've worked mainly in public health and have specialised more in neuro rehab in the community sector and inpatient rehab sector. But I was a director at the hospital for a few years as well. And then during the middle of COVID, just decided I didn't want to give up my clinical roots. So left and started my own business. We're a small business. I've got a subcontractor, a couple of allied health assistants. And one of the things we do run is an outdoor cooking and gardening group. And that's how these resources started. So it was actually costing us quite a lot of money to print these resources that we developed. And it became an idea of let's just do it a bit more professionally.
Yeah.
So we're really fortunate. I found a support worker who's also a chef at a local winery I'm from Northeast Victoria. So I commissioned her to write some really simple recipes, and it's just built from there. There's a couple of products that we've designed. The first one is a book. It's an actual book. The point of the book was that I wanted to design something that looked really nice for participants, that actually looked like something they'd want to put on their coffee table. But I also wanted it to be not just about recipes. I wanted it to be about life skills in the kitchen. I often think sometimes we spend a lot of time looking at how to cook the meal, but we forget that actually food's very social, and we forget to incorporate how do we teach them to invite someone over? How do we teach them to prepare for a guest to come over? There's a whole heap of life skills in the resources. And then we have some digital session plans, and those session plans are purely for occupational therapists. And the idea is that time is getting limited, plans are getting smaller. We also can't provide as much time with the therapy that we want to provide. But also if we're using a support worker or an allied health assistant, the time spent to provide handover, let alone the training of how to do that effectively, we just don't have the time for it. So the idea of those session plans actually is to make handover and the quality of therapy consistent.
Yeah.
So I'll go through both for you, and then
Yeah, that'd be really helpful. Yeah, so there's the books for the participants, so like they use that, and can they claim it through their NDIS type funding, like through consumables or something?
Yeah, so the book is accessible to anyone. So
Yeah.
it could be purchased by a support worker, it could be purchased by a disability special school, it could be purchased by the participant, therapist. But yes, so if people want to get it through the NDS, we've had success with it. All I need to do is on my website there's a link when you go to purchase the book. If you're an OT, you basically can send an email direct to me, give me the plan manager's details and the client details, and I'll set up an invoice for you so that they can then send that to the plan manager. And I'll also send them a complimentary support letter that we've had 100% success rate on. Because if you call it a cookbook, the plan manager won't fund it. But
Yeah.
I don't feel it's a cookbook. I feel like it's definitely an assistive aid to build capacity.
Yep.
So that's just the trick behind the language. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. And I think, yeah, if you've already had success and you know that it's getting over the line, it is in line with the what's in the in list at the moment and things like that, then yeah, that's half the battle. So that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So the contents, you can see the first section is life skills and the second section is recipes.
Yep.
And the life skills are divided in getting started, meal planning, sharing a meal, and a masterclass.
Yep.
I've got a friend who's an artist, so I commissioned her to do all the artwork. So it's all collage. I had a graphic designer do the design. So it's got a little intro for participants who might be using the book of how to use the book effectively. And then each life skill is divided by a different coloured tablecloth. It's written for an 11-year-old. So most of our caseload are adults. I don't tend to work with children. So we pitched it at the 11-year-old for health literacy reasons. And we've tried to make the layout really simple to follow and easy to look at and read. So there's all these different themes that we have for each section. For example, setting yourself up for success, that's really around things like conservation of energy strategies, those sorts of things. So we've tried to use the language very simplified for who might be actually using the book. We have things like, how to wash your hands. So there's ranging from conservation of energy strategies to simple techniques of how to wash your hands and personal hygiene. We have QR codes, so they are videos, so you can just put your phone over the QR code and you can watch a video that's basically talking through what's written on the page. And that's also for people probably who might find reading a bit challenging. And I have actually found that really effective. I didn't realize the video would be a powerful tool. With a lot of my clients, we watch the video and they ask them later, what did you learn? And they can tell me exactly what they've learned. And I would have thought my physical demonstration would be more valuable. I think both are valuable, but I have found the videos to be really effective.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think most people these days will have some sort of electronic device, and everywhere you go, you have to scan a QR code for something. Yeah, it's not an extra task or an extra skill that's going to only a certain people will be able to use. I think it's going to be more common that people are looking for that.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, so I suppose one of the things that I'm really keen on with the life skills, like I said before, is things like sharing a meal. So it's got like a section on how you invite someone over. It's got a video of how you might do that. How do you prepare for someone to come and have a meal? How do you set the table? How do you fold a napkin? How do you prepare before they come so that you're not flustered? What sort of things can you do during the week to make it a bit more effective? How do you have a conversation with someone? So just some really practical skills for some of our clients that might find that really challenging. The last life skill is a masterclass. It has QR codes for different knife skills and different ways of cutting vegetables, how to do it safely. And that's our chef does that. And actually, I've learnt so much from her. Like she has got some really safe strategies, obviously, because when you're a chef, but they're really transferable to our clients.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah, so you can just watch it. The video in between, I should if I got time, I'll show you a video. It has like a section in the middle where you can pause and then they have a go and then you watch the rest. So if there's a
Yeah,
few
okay.
strategies put in there, like for example, there's cutting, onion, slicing, and dicing, you generally can have a break in between each technique so they can practice that.
Yeah.
And then there's just some simple templates like a meal planner and a shopping list. And then we've got the recipes. So every recipe is graded based on a sweet pea being easy, a lemon being a bit more challenging, and a hot chili being a bit harder. And it's
Hmm.
into your body, brain, and cooking skills. So I don't know if you can see my cursor on the page here for what the rate
Yeah, we can. Yep.
gives you a criteria of what it is for easy for the body, brain, and kitchen skills, and the same for every other graded area.
Yep.
We've also got preset meal plans. So if they find that whole concept of meal planning and shopping list really hard, they can use something like this where it has all their meal plans set out with a prepared shopping list, and it tells you what recipes are used. So the recipes used in these meal plans are either easy to a bit more challenging.
Yep.
The red ingredients lets the person know that those ingredients are used over multiple recipes, particularly if you're trying to help them understand that the reason between a shopping list can be really helpful to save money and not buy more than you need.
Yep.
And then there's a second meal plan that's just a bit more harder, a bit more challenging. So the recipes are divided into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and sweets. So this is an example of the recipe. They're really simple. There's photos, simple written instructions. The ingredients and equipment are separated. And then you can see the rating scale here. So for this one, it's rated easy for physical, a bit harder for cognitive, and easy for cooking skills. We also, too, in the recipes have some QR codes for things like, for example, this one says, how to whisk an egg. It says the instruction says to whisk an egg. You can watch the video and it will show you how to whisk an egg. So for some people who don't know how to do that, it just gives them a really basic example. And we've even got one it says to wash the lettuce. We've even got a video on how to wash the lettuce. Because some people take it literally depending on
Yeah, take to the shower or the bath or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much the book in a nutshell. It's the other thing is we tried to look at recipes that, not that this is a bad thing, but when I looked at other recipe books for people that was more simplified, it'll have things like nachos and those sorts of recipes, whereas these ones we've tried to make recipes that anyone would cook but are simple and the ingredients are pretty simple that they'd have in their pantry or fridge.
Yeah.
And I noticed the chef, she's really simplified it. So a chicken noodle soup can sometimes be quite complicated, but she's not had as much ingredients and she's made some really simple ways of doing it that I suppose we would say is cutting corners, but make it a lot more easier for someone who finds it hard to follow multiple steps.
Sounds like my type of cooking, to be honest. I'm a gourmet. I'm like, I have to cook to eat. So this could be my Christmas present. Next time someone buys me a cook, we're like the simple stuff that's not too fancy gourmet or tricky. Just yeah.
I'm
Perfect.
with you on that one, Claire. I've actually made quite a few, and I'm like, I don't know why I shouldn't be surprised, but oh, that tastes really good.
Well, it's because you got a chef that's actually designed the miso. That's already a bonus. It's not just you pulling something from the internet that hasn't been tested. Nope. And I'm sure, like any chefs, are like they're proud of their work, so they're not just going to give you rubbish. They're going to be like, "No, this is good stuff."
Exactly, Claire. So where she's a chef is that it's Pizzini Wines, which is run by an Italian family, and her husband's Italian as well. And so a lot of the ingredients she uses in the cooking comes from the traditional area that they're from in Italy. So even those sorts of things I quite like, that our clients are getting something that's a bit fancy, but really hitting what they need and something they can be proud to have on their bookshelf or on their coffee table.
The big question is, how much is the book? Just the book.
Um, yeah, so with GST, $100.20.
Yeah, okay. It's
Yeah.
very reasonable then for the amount that it's been graded and broken down. And all that,
Yeah.
like it's like I say, it's not just like a recipe book, it's the skills and it's been set up the way that's been set up.
Yeah, and I actually would love it too. I suppose another big passion of mine is not just building capacity in our clients, but building capacity in the support staff we work with. And one of those areas is support workers. Like sometimes their background hasn't been in a disability background, or they don't have, they really want to help another, but they don't have a lot of understanding of building capacity and, how much to get involved and how little to get involved to build that person's capacity. And the idea is that the book, I think, would be really helpful for some of those support staff as well as therapists, not just participants. And that's probably partly why I looked at the session plans as well.
Yeah, okay. That's probably a good segue to your session
Yeah.
plans. Yeah, pretty much anyone can buy this, even therapists could use it and work off it, but you do have extra stuff just for the OTs to actually buy as well.
Yes. Yeah. The session plans are linked to the book. So there's 18 session plans and they're all divided by the themes of the life skills. You can buy them individually, you can buy them in the life skills section, or you can buy the complete package. When you buy the complete package, you get a complimentary full digital version of the Cooking Up Independence book.
Mm-hmm.
You get them as a PDF. There's no subscription fee. So once you get it, you've got that. You can only download it once. But yeah, I just wanted to make it really easy for sending as a handover if you wanted to use it as a handover for an allied health assistant or support worker.
Yep.
So you can use them for one-on-one face-to-face sessions. You could use them to help make up a group. So a lot of the session plans that we've written, some of the topics and the way we run a group session with our outdoor cooking gardening group that I was mentioning before, or you could use it as a handover to an allied health assistant or a support worker. Yeah, there's multi ways that you can use a session plan. So this is from the meal planning life skill. This is one of the last session plans, I think, in the meal planning. Every session plan comes with a disclaimer. It's pretty boring, but you have to have it in there. And then there's the welcome page. Whenever you see this symbol here, it means that page is electronic, which means you can type into it. We basically wrote each session plan based on the neuroscience of learning, the principles of the neuroscience of learning. So this page here, if you were using it or you were sending it to your allied health assistant or a support worker, whoever you wanted to do, or carer, depending on what you wanted to do, it goes through and tells the person how to run the session and what strategies to use to maximize the person's learning.
Yeah.
So for example, it in the activity section, it says that, where you can, we would recommend you do the I do, we do, you do principle. You do it first, you do it with them, and then you get them to do it. So it just gives strategies and ways to actually that they can use to maximize that person's learning and build their capacity. There's also a handover. So it's electronic. So I can type in who the person is. I can tell them what the focus of the session is. And we also wanted to make it that if you felt the session plan didn't quite meet the client's needs, you could customize and give it feedback on what things you want them to change or what you want them to focus on a bit more of in the session.
Yeah.